The Sunday Night Anthem, delivered by Uber Eats.
Early Sunday evening in Los Angeles, and it's week 9 of the NFL season as we take a little cruise into SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, where a full house greets the Rams as they take the field. Matthew Stafford will try to keep lighting it up as the Rams take on Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans on Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels, Chris Collins with the shoulder for you. Each team comes in on a 4-game winning streak. The big news, of course, for Tennessee is also bad news. The best running back in the league, Derrick Henry, broke his foot last week, had surgery, so they go out and they sign 36-year-old Adrian Peterson, hoping he can provide a blast from the past. This should be pretty fascinating. Meanwhile, the Rams keep rolling. They are 7-1 right now. Went all in on the Matthew Stafford trade in the offseason. He has been terrific. And his top target, wideout Cooper Kupp, is putting up Jerry Rice-like numbers at the halfway point of the season. Chris, clearly the Rams' goal is to be back here playing a home game February the 13th in Super Bowl 56.
And we keep hearing all about the all-in Rams, right? They make the trade for Von Miller. And he's not going to play in this one tonight, but he will be very soon. And you start thinking about putting Von Miller with Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd, who leads this Rams team in sacks, and quarterbacks might start thinking about opting out when they play against the Rams. But the reason they've been all in on the defensive side is because of the way Matthew Stafford's playing on offense.
Meanwhile, the Titans, Derrick Henry leading the league in rushing by a mile, but he's gone. Now what?
Well, you replace a legend with a legend, I guess. They bring out Adrian Peterson, and no, he's not Derrick Henry, but my goodness, this Titans offense is not going to change for anybody. They're going to go with their power running and play action, and Adrian Peterson, not a bad guy for that.
2 decades ago, these teams met in a classic Super Bowl. They meet again tonight on Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football is brought to you by Hyundai Tucson and Santa Fe plug-in hybrid EVs. And by Untuck It, shirts designed to be worn on tucks, welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Life, we know, isn't fair. Yet when a king falls,
Derrick Henry is injured, out for the season.
It feels different. Nevertheless, in his absence, lords must rise up. For there's still a kingdom to look after. Now they journey to a city of angels, where a knight in shining armor awaits. Along with a mountain of a man who never loses a duel. Retreat is not an option. There is pride in standing strong in the face of such a formidable contender. Tonight, they fight.
The two men who will brainstorm tonight's chess match. Sean McVay, the coach of the Rams in his 5th year. Mike Vrabel in his 4th year as the Titans head coach, as we go down to the field and check in with Michelle.
Well, Al, Monday was eventful for both these teams as they each added a future Hall of Famer to their rosters. The Rams traded for 8-time Pro Bowler Von Miller, who told me he was blindsided. But when it sunk in, he thought, damn, the Rams are a hell of a team. How'd they pull that off? Miller is recovering from an ankle injury and will not play tonight. Now, as all of that was going on, the Titans were bringing Adrian Peterson to Nashville for a workout. Peterson told me it wasn't until he was boarding his flight that he learned Derrick Henry had suffered a broken foot, and he realized, okay, yeah, this is an opportunity to come in and help. Peterson had been staying in shape and was a little discouraged teams hadn't called him sooner, but he told me Tennessee is the last place I thought he'd be. And yet, Al, here he is, and he's listed as the Titans starter tonight.
Michelle, you know what it's time for. Let's get ready to, as we go to Michael Buffer.
Rams fans, it's Sunday Night Football on NBC. So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
And the kickoff goes right through the Let's Get Ready to Rumble, and it starts with a touchback, as most games do, from the 25-yard line. What can I tell you?
They went more off of your cue than they did Michael Buffer's.
I know. I think he had an elongated script tonight. But off they went. The Titans had won the toss and deferred, so the Rams start from the 25-yard line. Running back is Henderson. That's Woods, number 2, in motion, setting up on a wing to the right. First play of the game is Henderson, and he'll pick up about 5 to the 30-yard line. Jenkins making the tackle there. Matthew Stafford through 8 games this season after 12 years in Detroit. Could be his best season ever to this point. 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and his pass rating 2nd in the league for Russell Wilson. To the outside he goes. First down, and there is Cooper Kupp. Talked about him at the beginning. Picks up 7, tackled by Chris Jackson, first down.
Well, Cooper Kupp has simply been amazing so far this year. Has a magical relationship, really, with Matthew Stafford. They wake up at 6 a.m., go in, have a little breakfast, watch a couple hours of film, and you can just see it play itself out on the football field, especially down in the red zone where that combination has just been deadly.
Kupp with 10 touchdowns this season. He and Derrick Henry tied for the league lead. Pretty good hole on the ground that closes quickly for Henderson. Here's the Rams offense.
Matthew Stafford, University of Georgia.
Darrell Henderson, Memphis.
Cooper Kupp, EWU.
Robert Woods, USC.
Van Jefferson, Florida.
Tyler Higbee, Western Kentucky. Andrew Whitworth, LSU.
David Edwards, Wisconsin. Brian Allen, Hinsdale Central High School.
Austin Corbett, Nevada.
Rob Havenstein, Wisconsin.
Kupp from EWU, shorthand for Eastern Washington. 2nd down and 7. Rams use a lot of motion. Do it again here. Play action. Swing it to the outside. That's caught by Woods. And Woods staying in bounds and picking up an extra 5 or 6 yards into Tennessee territory. First down. Gain of 14.
We have been watching Matthew Stafford do this all season long, and basically a stunt that time by the best defensive lineman for the Titans. Jeffrey Simmons came right around, and Stafford just sort of sidearmed that thing right out there and never got close to that sack they were dreaming of.
Rams spreading it out at the 45-yard line. Tons of formations, lots of motion, plenty of window dressing. McVay, an offensive genius, has proven that with a 50-22 record through the years. And look out as a sack for Danico Autry. So Stafford looking downfield, couldn't find anybody open, and takes a sack back to the 46-yard line. Of course, the minute I mentioned that McVay's an offensive genius, we get a sack.
Of course.
What do you want me to tell you?
That's exactly right. So you're going to get Robert Woods coming in here, and he's the check down, which means when you're in a spread look on the offensive side. There's one guy that you plan on when all else fails. I'm going to get it right down to that guy. But Jayon Brown was all over him and nowhere to go.
9-yard sack. Second down and 19. Bunch three receivers to the right side. Deep drop by Stafford. Look out again. Avoids a sack the first time, but not the second time. So in trouble, a lot of pressure. They kept him in the pocket. Autry, the first guy in there, and Jeffrey Simmons comes in to clean it up. So back-to-back sacks. 3rd and 26.
Anytime the center turns away from one of these pass rushers, this time you're going to see Brian Allen turn this way to help. And that left one-on-one for Denico Autry. And Denico Autry has really become quite an amazing story. Basically, he was a rival playing with the Colts, and they just kept getting beat by Denico Autry, so they finally signed him up for the Titans.
Titans now have 20 sacks this season, one more than they had all of last year. On the ground on the 3rd and 26. And up to the 43-yard line goes Sony Michel, who picked up from New England in an early season trade. And after 2 rapid first downs, they'll punt.
Yeah, you just strap it on when you play the Titans. It's not always the prettiest of games, but it is going to be physical. It's going to be nasty out there. And that's exactly how Mike Vrabel loves to play.
Johnny Hekker, for 10 years, one of the best in the league. Rodgers is going to let it go, and it takes a backward bounce. Can the Rams down it before it hits the goal line? No, it's a touchback. Took a great bounce for the Rams, but they could not down it before it gets into the end zone. Tennessee with the ball at the 20 when we come back to Los Angeles. Meet him.
Ryan Tannehill, Texas A&M.
Adrian Peterson, Palestine, Texas.
A.J. Brown, Ole Miss. Julio Jones, Alabama.
Anthony Ferkser, Harvard. Jeff Swain, Butte Community College.
Taylor Lewan, Michigan.
Roger Saffold, Indiana. Ben Jones, Georgia.
Aaron Brewer, Texas State. David Pressenberry, San Jose State.
A lot of eyes tonight on Brewer, the right guard, number 62. Nate Davis inactive tonight. And, of course, Aaron Donald, he's champing at the bit, knowing he's going against the Tennessee offensive line.
This will probably be champing at Aaron Brewer pretty soon.
So Adrian Peterson carrying, spinning, picking up 3. Aaron Donald is there. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Peterson in fantastic shape, even though he hasn't played this year.
Watch this move by Aaron Donald. He's going to do a little spin right into the perfect position right there. Got him up. Let's go catch that legend over there. I mean, it's almost amazing, isn't it, that Adrian Peterson is playing in this game.
15th year in the league, 2nd down and 7. Tannehill under pressure, fires, caught. Browns having a tremendous year. And he takes it out to the 40-yard line where Darius Williams comes off the injured list. Starting tonight, makes the stop.
Yeah, Darius Williams back after 3 weeks with a bad ankle, and that's the guy you're going to get, A.J. Brown. And went back and watched all of A.J. Brown's routes. The thing that the Titans love to do, obviously go play action fakes and hit those in-breaking routes, whether it be slants, whether it's digs, crossing routes. That's where they want to work, the middle of the field.
And Jeff Swain as the fullback here. This is Peterson. Runs into a bunch of Rams and is stopped for a short gain. Tannehill had a great year last year, the best of his career. This year over 2,000 yards. But he's already thrown as many interceptions this season, 7, as he did all of last year. And the rating is below the league average.
Yeah, 5 of those 7 interceptions were on him. 2 of them, not so much. But you could probably say that about every quarterback.
No doubt. 2nd down and 9 from the 39-yard line. Off play action now, under pressure. He gets it away, and it's intercepted at the 45-yard line by Jalen Ramsey. And flags come down at the end of the play. But Ramsey with a pick, and the Rams have the ball, pending the call. So he's already thrown Tannehill. If the play stands, more interceptions than all of last year. Brad Rogers is the referee, and we'll hear from him for the first time tonight. All of that action right in front of the Tennessee bench at the end of the play.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 5 of the intercepting team. 15-yard penalty, first down, Los Angeles.
So Ramsey taketh and giveth.
Jalen Ramsey told us yesterday that Ryan Tannehill, the weakness for his game was throwing some of these out-breaking cuts. We talked about how much he loves throwing the in cuts, but on the out-breaking cuts, Ramsey said he'll leave a couple hanging inside, and I'm going to have a chance for it. Sure did.
And then Ramsey knocks him down after he made the pick. So that costs him 15, brings the ball back to the 35 as they begin their second drive from the spot. Play action and rolling, and Stafford buying time. Fakes it to Jefferson and then takes it out of bounds in front of the Rams bench. Let's take a look at that Tennessee defense.
Danico Autry, Mississippi State.
Tier Tart, Florida International. Jeffrey Simmons, Mississippi State.
Harold Landry, Boston College.
David Long, West Virginia.
Jayon Brown, Long Beach Poly.
Janoris Jenkins, Pahokee High School.
Amani Hooker, Iowa.
Kevin Byard, Middle Tennessee.
Chris Jackson, Marshall.
Elijah Molden, University of Washington.
Molden, the rookie in the secondary. Jenkins in the process of changing his full name to Jackrabbit instead of Janoris, as the shoulder shake and the pass over the middle is caught. This is Cooper Kupp. The crowd serenading him with Coop. And Brown makes the tackle. So Cooper Kupp comes out of Eastern Washington, had a torn ACL in 2018, came back stronger than ever. Look at the numbers for this season. 932 yards, approaching 1,000. Tops in the NFL in touchdowns, tied with Henry in that category, and he has become the go-to man for Stafford.
Yeah, and Stafford says all he wants to do is talk to me about blocking. He said, I don't care about your blocking.
He's the complete deal. You saw Ramsey on the bench shaking his head. First down now at the 48-yard line. Kupp goes in motion. Give it to Henderson. Big hole. He exploits it. To the 39-yard line he goes. Byard and Jenkins make the tackle. And Stafford's going to take him up, no huddle now. Pressure. Steps away from it. Fires downfield, and it is juggled and incomplete. Kupp, the intended receiver, and Chris Jackson, second-year corner out of Marshall, able to bat it away. It'll be second down and 10.
Rare blitz that time coming from the Titans. They don't blitz a whole lot, but this one was close. Chris Jackson had a shot at that one. Mostly out of these Titans defenders, you're going to see just a four-man rush because they have so many injuries in the secondary. They're having to play guys like Chris Jackson, but Chris Jackson said, don't worry about me.
Four-man rush, and they already have 2 sacks in the game. Anderson again this time. Inside give. He takes it to the 34-yard line. Naquan Jones makes the stop. Third down and 6.
And Darrell Henderson has become such a key part of this offense. Cam Akers was the rock star, the running back that could have all the big plays. He's the dynamic guy, so explosive. And yet Darrell Henderson has come in here and just taken control. And maybe more than anything is what he's done in some of the protection schemes that allow them to empty the backfield and get out.
Rams as a team averaging a little over 100 rushing yards per game. This time only a 3-man rush, and Stafford's going to take off, has the first down and more. Matthew to the 20-yard line and signals first down as he hits the turf. Landry and David Long make the stop. Gain of 12.
Yeah, so now they're going to go with just 3-man rush here and try and double up the coverage, especially that over the middle. And it really kind of caught Stafford off guard a little bit, but the 3-man rush, obviously there are 3 gaps in front of him to take off and run. Nobody wants to see Stafford running too much with the way he's playing, but that one helped.
He had 20 carries for 24 total yards coming into the game. He's already carried twice for 13 tonight. The ground again. Not much there to the 20-yard line. Henderson stopped by Danico Autry. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Boy, the Danico Autry has just been all over the place here early on in this one. Flying across the formation to make that play.
Last 3 years in Indianapolis for Autry.
Just watch him shoot down here inside. You can tell they paid him a lot of money for an undrafted guy, but he just keeps getting better and better in the league.
7th season in the NFL out of Mississippi State. 2nd down and 8 from the 20. 4-man rush. Pass caught. Cup. Already caught 3 tonight. Short gain there. 17-yard line. Molden makes the tackle. 3rd down and 4 for the Rams.
Boy, we're seeing around the league teams playing these great offenses in the same exact way, and that's with a 4-deep shell and a lot of protecting of those cornerbacks on the backside. They are not going to end up in one-on-one matchups, and so far Stafford's just kind of been picking them apart in between these zone defenses.
9th play of the drive. 5 of the 8 have been on the ground. 1-3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right, and that's knocked down at the line of scrimmage. So the Rams marching down the field. They've gone from their own 35 clearly into field goal territory, and that will bring in Matt Gay.
Yeah, bring in an early MVP of this game so far. Danico Autry one more time. He knew he wasn't going to get there on the quick release by Stafford. So get your hands up. There it is.
34-yard field goal attempt. Matt Gay has only missed 1 field goal and 1 extra point this season. And we did not give him the kibosh for a change. First points of the game. 3-0 Rams. Up the road in Santa Monica. Jimmy Fallon this week. He's got Will Smith coming by. Taylor Swift. Will Ferrell will be there. Good guest list. Tonight Show all this week on NBC. There is Taylor Lewan, the left tackle, been on the injury list, knee problems. He was questionable in terms of whether he would play tonight. He's in uniform, obviously, did not start. So now you've got Bobby Hart in there along that offensive front. This is Marcus Johnson, and he'll down it in the end zone as we take a look at the LA defense.
Ashawn Robinson, Alabama.
Greg Gaines, Washington.
Aaron Donald, Pitt.
Leonard Floyd, Georgia.
Troy Reeder, Delaware.
Ernest Jones, South Carolina.
Terrell Lewis, Monster Maker University.
Robert Rochelle, Central Arkansas.
Jordan Fuller, The Ohio State University.
Taylor Rapp, Washington.
Jalen Ramsey, RPT.
Already seen the Ramsey pick. There is the aforementioned Bobby Hart, that left tackle. Of course, he'll be facing that ferocious front. That front is right there, but they get it to Peterson, and Adrian with a little dance down the sideline. Aaron Donald forced the issue that time, but Tannehill able to get it away for a gain of 5, 2nd and 5.
Yeah, this is definitely a mistake right here. You don't bootleg naked into Aaron Donald and not get a hand on him. So Aaron Donald probably has not seen that clear a path to the quarterback in quite some time. So just a little unsettled on offense right now for the Titans.
Donald, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Could do it again this season. Through the middle now and chugging his way for a gain of a couple. That's Peterson, stopped by Robinson. So Peterson, of course, made his chops in Minnesota all of those years, and then he bounced around. Last year he was with Detroit, then he was out. He had opportunities to play with a couple of teams earlier this year. In fact, Dancing with the Stars offered him a lot of money to come on. He was waiting around, and when the moment arrived and he looked at that Tennessee offense, he said, I'm going.
It's a perfect fit. I mean, but with the Lions last year, he had over 600 yards and 7 touchdowns. So it's not like he came out of, some dance studio.
They go empty here. That's McNichols, their 3rd down back in motion. Throw it to him, and that doesn't fool anybody. Dante Deon is there to tackle him as he makes the grab. So a 3rd and 2 becomes a 4th and 5.
Dante Dion, one of my favorite guys in the league, all of 5'9" and 159 pounds. And watch this hit. The minute he smells the little bit, there we go, before any of those blockers get there, like a blur up there to make that play.
Brett Kern in his 14th season in the league. He'll punt. Cooper Kupp is going to accept it at the 25-yard line. And they won't give him a chance for a run back as it skids out of bounds at about the 33. Santa Monica Pier on this Sunday night in Southern California. This year, a couple of guys to keep an eye on. Harold Landry, second in the league in sacks coming into the game, has 8.5. Most for anybody for that franchise since they began recording them in '82. And Kevin Byard, 22 picks over the last 5 seasons. Second during that span to Howard of Miami. And of course, Danico Autry's a guy who's kind of made his mark already tonight.
Yeah, Kevin Byard was the NFC Defensive Player of the Month as well. AFC.
Yep. And Kupp was the NFC Offensive Player of the Month as we start this drive from the 29-yard line. Henderson swings to the outside and picks up about 5 and a penalty. Hooker forced him out of bounds, and only the second time tonight we will hear from Brad Rogers. Against the Rams.
Holding. Offense. Number 12. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's Van Jefferson, the wideout.
Happens so often as you see anybody who blocks and then the play starts to bounce outside. You'll see Jefferson grab that shoulder right there, and that's an easy call. Cooper Kupp on the inside. You'll see these wide receivers blocking all night. The Rams and 49ers probably the two teams that expect the most out of their wideouts blocking.
Yeah, you want to play wideout for the Rams. Bad snap. Stafford collects it into Henderson. And almost a disaster, but Jackson is there to stop him. So the high snap that time from the snap of the center Brian Allen. Second down and 16.
I'll tell you, this Chris Jackson is some athlete. He's been flying around out here. He's a hurdle champion from high school and just keeps making plays like this. I mean, this is an attitude defense as much as anything else. You know, we were talking to Vrabel, and you can just, everybody that comes in the room when you're talking about the Tennessee defense, it's not about how talented you are. It's about how hard you play.
Vrabel had plenty of attitude when he was playing. Some great years with New England. Meanwhile, the pressure is put on here, and that's almost a pick at the 25-yard line as David Long Jr. forced that issue. They want to keep Stafford in the pocket. They've done a good job of that and force the issue again, 3rd and 15.
We are seeing more and more pressure from the linebacker position than really I think what I expected and probably what the Rams expected out of this one, but it's having an impact so far in this game.
Deep drop, Stafford steps up, fires, and that is incomplete. Trying to hit the tight end Tyler Higbee. Final half minute of the period. It's 4th down.
I tell you, you came into this season with the Titans feeling like they're going to be pretty strong on the back end at the cornerback position. Then all those guys got hurt. And then it was the front four and the 4-man rush and those guys on the interior that have really taken over defensively this season.
Johnny Hecker for his second punt. His first one 57, but they couldn't knock down it before it went into the end zone. Booming kick. Fielded at the 24. Rodgers escapes the first man and a couple of more after that as he gets it back to the 35-yard line. We're back in a half minute after this from AWS.
According to AWS Next Gen Stats, Lockett had a 25.9% chance to catch that. What a play!
AWS, you can stat that.
King's right, 2 Y banana, alert diamond. Stat that.
Stat that. How is that even possible?
3-0. Rams on top. There's a look at Andrew Whitworth in the foreground there. He will be 40 next month. Long-time Cincinnati Bengal. Wrapping up his career in Los Angeles. Tannehill fires. Caught. Gain of 6. Catch is made there by Anthony Firkser, one of their 3 tight ends. And that will take us to the end of the first quarter. 3-0. Rams on top. Sunday Night Football from Inglewood, California continues after these messages. Oh, as you look at the translucent roof, SoFi Stadium, sun shines through. We're going to have the Super Bowl here, and the first half of that game will look like it's being played during the day. There's the infinity board as we come back with the score 3-0. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and Michelle Tafoya. Second down and 3 for Tennessee at their own 42-yard line. Look out, nothing happening there, and slung down is McNichols by Okoronkwo, making the tackle there. So McNichols, normally the 3rd down back, but Vrabel telling us last night he'll see some 1st and 2nd down action as well.
Yeah, Bobby Hart's going to come out. He's in replacing Taylor Lewan, who's an excellent tackle and just no match there. Hart just not quite the athlete that some of these guys are right now.
3rd down and 6. Titans have only 1 first down in the game. This will be their 10th play of the game. The Rams have run 20 plays. 4-man pressure. Tannehill hangs in there, throws and drop. Uncharacteristic drop by Brown along the sideline. So that would have been clearly a first down. Instead it's 4th and 6. And Kern will come in for his 2nd punt.
When you get in a game like this, you can't do that. That is 1st down, move the sticks, get a little momentum, give your defense a break. They've been playing great so far against a very explosive Rams offense.
There's Kupp, who catches, blocks, and returns punts as well. Kern's first kick was 41 yards. He booted that one out of bounds. And he kick it toward Kupp. Toward the sideline. Kupp's going to let it go, and it's going to bounce and be down at the 4-yard line. Cruikshank able to down it there. Rams start from deep in their own territory. Next drive. McVay seen one take 2. He had Jared Goff last year. 20 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, a lot of sacks. 13 interceptions, whatever I said there. It's 13 picks. Matthew Stafford already 22 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, a lot fewer sacks. And of course, McVay is thrilled that Matthew Stafford was available after 12 years in Detroit. They start this drive from the 4-yard line and on the ground here. So McVay, he inherited Goff because he was drafted during the Jeff Fisher regime. He was all in on an extension. Then he realized, hey, Stafford available. Now you got to call the owner and go, you know what? I may have been wrong about that. I really want the other guy. And Stan Kroenke said, go for it.
I'm sure swallowed hard and said, okay. But what has happened is that Matthew Stafford has sort of changed Sean McVay and some of the core philosophies of what they were doing a season ago. You're seeing a lot more of this straight drop back kind of game, less of the outside zone and the bootlegs and all that goes with it. And so
false start. Offense, number 55. Half the distance to the goal. 2nd down.
When something works, it works. And the more you get to do it. And so far, Matthew Stafford has earned the trust of Sean McVay on every single level.
And of course, every time we're with Sean now, he's so energized with Stafford. I mean, it's a great marriage, at least to this point.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew Stafford right in the MVP conversation right now. I mean, he's been that good.
2nd and 11. The running back is Sony Michel. He stays in the block. Pass to the outside will buy them some breathing room. Tyler Higbee, the tight end, makes the grab there, which sets up a 3rd down and 4 for LA.
Yeah, one of the things that you worry about when you're talking about changing philosophically on the offensive side is what those offensive linemen are going to be able to do, you know, because they were so used to the bootleg game and the defense running sideways. But now when you have an empty backfield, you have to straight up pass protection in a way they have not been asked to do before.
So right now he brings Michel into the backfield for some extra protection, and he flares out, and Stafford gets spun down, fires it away, it's picked off, and Tennessee will have a 1st and goal. Jeffrey Simmons almost had Stafford in the end zone for a safety. Instead he throws it, and it's picked off.
It's the same play as Carson Wentz.
Yep, yeah.
Last week, it's the same exact play. Unbelievable, the pressure in the end zone. He's spinning around, doesn't want to take the safety. Instead, maybe giving up a touchdown. So this Titans defense, after getting out, they were down 14-0 to the Colts, come back and win that game on a play very much like that. Come right back here in the Rams' house. And for Stafford, boy, that's a huge mistake for him.
Yeah, Wentz last week, he threw it left-handed. At least Stafford threw it right-handed this time.
Oh,
that's Long's first career interception. So after we show you all of the great Stafford numbers, a pick here, and it's 1st and goal from the 2. Adrian Peterson is the running back. Fake it to him, wide open, touchdown. Jeff Slane, the tight end. Takes him 1 play to cash in and take the lead.
Well, when you have a reputation as a running team, this is the outside zone we're talking about. Everybody's got to fly up on the goal line and try and stop Adrian Peterson. And that's a walk-in. Wow, what a turn of events here. We came in here really feeling like this Rams offense was just flying so high they might really give the Titans a tough time, but so far this Titans defense has just dominated the game.
And the extra point will make it a 7-3 game off the foot of Randy Bullock. That's a 4-second scoring drive. Simmons to help create it. Touchdown pass this way.
Well, if Stafford had just gone down, his forward progress was stopped with the entire ball in the field of play right there where you see it. It wouldn't have been a safety. It would have been the Rams ball at about the half-yard line if he just gone down and not thrown the ball.
But it would have been a safety if he had just sort of thrown it away or short of the line of scrimmage, right? Because he would have been thrown from the end zone.
Yes, it would have been intentional grounding.
Kickoff goes to the 6-yard line, and it's run back to the 21 by Buddy Howell.
So many times when you play against this Titans team, it's not the initial rush that gets you, it's these delayed rushes where they come looping around, and you could tell Stafford knew he was in trouble. But that's the last place in the world you expect a veteran quarterback's been playing like he's been playing to make that kind of mistake. But that is 2 weeks in a row now we have seen the Titans defense make a play just like that.
It's old hat.
Yeah. I'll tell you, that play really set up the win against the Colts and gave them 2 wins over the Colts, and that guy liked it.
Made a few plays in his career, Mike Vrabel. Meanwhile, the Titan, that's Matthias Farley, one of their safeties, and he needs some attention as he comes over the sideline, and the Rams are ready to begin this drive at their own 21-yard line. Vrabel, 4 years, 3 winning seasons as the head man in Nashville.
He made plays on offense and defense, didn't he?
He did. He caught a few from Tom Brady. Playing both sides of the ball. 4-man rush. And that's going to be picked off at the 24 by Byard for the touchdown. Man, oh man, as Keith Jackson would say, whoa, Millie. Can you believe that? Back to back. That's 24 yards for a pick six. Crazy. First pick six of Byard's career. He's had a lot of interceptions, but none that took him to the end zone until that one.
They changed defenses on him. They just flat out fooled Matthew Stafford. They changed up the defense for really one of the first times in the game.
So Bullock now for the point after. And in a stunning turn of events. Crowd in a state of shock here.
So this
14-3.
time they're going to go to the single safety look, and that's going to free up Byard. But watch him just mess around here a little bit before he got to his assignment out in the flat. He's just trying to fool Stafford, bait him into that throw, and once he started winding up, that was that. Well, you don't see a defense just take over a big game like this. I mean, this Titans defense is just dominating the first half.
That's a defense that was not good at all last year, but Shane Bowen was the linebackers coach last year. They elevated him this year, and that D playing a lot better.
Kevin Byard is playing out of his mind right now, and we asked Mike Vrabel about him, and he said he was a unanimous captain. Everybody respects him. Everybody knows what he brings to our game, and he has just been fantastic for over a month now.
2 interceptions within 26 seconds. Flag on the play. Flag is down at the 31-yard line. And Brad Rogers checking with his colleagues.
Boy, it's been one of those kind of days today in the NFL, hasn't it? I mean, just crazy results out here.
And what's really crazy is that the teams that you thought would have next to no chance, Denver, Arizona without Murray and Hopkins.
It was the day of the underdogs for sure.
Not only did they win, but I mean, they won going away. Meanwhile, the penalty's going to be against the Rams because you got the conversation going on here with Vrabel. He's got some great facial expressions, doesn't he?
Just don't like it when they're about you.
Right. During the kick, personal foul, block below the waist, number 44 of the receiving team. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kick. We will re-kick from the 50-yard line.
And now we go to Michelle.
I talked to Kevin Byard this week, asked him how this defense planned to deal with the Rams' sort of smoke and flash offense, and his response was zone in and focus on the keys of that play. If you need your eyes on the tight end, keep your eyes on the tight end. Don't try to sneak a peek as to what the quarterback or anyone else is doing. Keep your eyes on your keys. But he also said his success this season and getting as many touches on the football as he had, it's a cyclical thing, but he's given a lot of credit to that defensive front getting pressure on the quarterback all season.
And we saw that with Simmons creating the first interception. Meanwhile, they'll put the ball at the 50, 15-yard penalty instead of the 35.
Yeah, it was interesting. Mike Vrabel also said he loves running ideas by Kevin Byard. He's that kind of a leader. He has that kind of intellect, and now you have a lot of options if you're the kicking team.
Yeah, you have a guaranteed touchback if you want it, but that's not why they took the penalty. They have other ideas.
Correction on the foul enforcement. Tennessee has chosen to take the block below the waist. We're going to put the ball at the 12.5-yard line. It's first down, Los Angeles.
Yeah, I was sitting here trying to figure out what that was about. Why would you want to re-kick it in that situation? Yeah. There you go.
Unless you wanted to try an onside kick, but
no.
Probably more than anything, yeah, you're going to see the low block coming here. And sometimes when one of those defensive lineman numbers come charging down at you, your natural tendency is to go try these knees.
Penalty on Jameer Jones. So the Rams begin this drive early in the second quarter, down by 11.
I'll tell you, Shane Bowen's defense has just been playing out here.
Story of the game through the first 18 minutes anyway. And picking up 12, Darrell Henderson. Terry, what'd you see on that enforcement?
Yeah, Al, that's not an option for the enforcement. The foul occurred by the receiving team during the kick. That's a previous spot enforcement, and the only thing they can do with it is go back and re-kick after a 15-yard penalty.
Very interesting.
Give Terry a little raise.
Yeah, so no kidding.
He's on this stuff.
Terry reffed 3 Super Bowls, so we would expect him to know that.
Save some of it, man.
Yeah. From the 24-yard line on first down. The ground again, cutting it back to the 28-yard line. Henderson's been a workhorse already tonight. Carried the ball 8 times for 48 yards. We're talking about Shane Bowen. There he is, 34 years old. He's the youngest defensive coordinator in the league, elevated from outside linebacker coach last year. He was under a lot of fire last year as the Rams go no huddle. Swing it out here. Henderson makes that grab and is out of bounds, well shy of the first down.
Yeah, and Shane Bowen, really his big thing in this game was, and you have to affect this quarterback. If you let Matthew Stafford stand back there, he has just been picking people apart. And so far, the belief was that that pressure had to come from inside. And think about where we've seen the pressure so far tonight. It hasn't been around the edge. It's been with some of these games that they're running inside.
3rd down and 5. Look out again. And Stafford's going to get sacked back at the 15-yard line. That's Jeffrey Simmons having a huge game tonight. So Stafford comes into the game with 4 picks all season, has 2 in a row, rarely gets sacked, and now he's down for the 3rd time in the game.
Al, you're going to see a bull rush. You can't bull any better than this bull right there. And all that means is you're not trying to go around him, you're trying to go through that man.
Hecker to punt. His 3rd boot of the night. And at the 35-yard line, you've got Rodgers making the grab, but a Ram is hurt. That's Jacob Harris who is down. That Titan defense with Simmons, the story of the game so far, 14-3. Is gone, but look what he did while he was in there. Led the league in consecutive seasons, carries, rush yards, rush TDs. First since Leroy Kelly back in the late 60s. Over the last 30 games, the most yards over a 30-game span in history. At a 2,000-yard season, might have had a shot at Eric Dickerson's record. He was on a pace for 465 carries this season, and they just hope to have him back before the year is done.
Yeah, and over 500 touches, which would have been an NFL record.
Meanwhile, Harris was helped off the field. He's back on the Rams bench. Tannehill throws to the outside. That's caught up at the 45-yard line by Julio Jones, who's back. He's been on the injured list, and we go to Michelle.
Well, Derrick Henry has a Jones fracture of the 5th metatarsal bone, the one forming the outside ridge of the foot directly behind the pinky toe. He had surgery Tuesday to stabilize the fracture with a plate and 5 screws, and considering the high loads placed on the outside of his foot every time he changes direction, the injury is significant. You know, everyone heals differently, so they haven't put a timetable on him now.
Exactly, Michelle, from the 46-yard line. Deontay Foreman comes in, spent some time with Tennessee last year, originally with Houston Texans. And we see what he can do. Not bad. Gains 8, gets into Rams territory to the 46-yard line. Robert Rochelle makes the tackle there. 2nd down and 2 for Tennessee.
You know, running back really is one of those positions where you can find players coming in off the street. You can't find offensive linemen and defensive linemen that could come in and just play. But some of these veteran guys that have a bunch of carries, I mean, there aren't that many different kind of running plays in the NFL. 8, 9, something like that.
Foreman was in the Atlanta camp. We saw him in preseason this year. Then he was released. Little razzle-dazzle here. This is Marcus Johnson. And a great play by Ramsey. So Ramsey reads it right there, stops him before he could throw downfield or turn the corner.
Deontay Foreman had a chance to block Ramsey on this one, and he simply does not. There's Ramsey right up in there. And Foreman had the perfect angle, and Ramsey just way too athletic for him. That's one of the things that we've seen this season out of Ramsey since he started playing that star position or the inside slot. He's been making a lot of tackles, a lot of plays in the backfield.
3rd down and 9.
Whoop.
And they stopped that play because Terrell Lewis had come across the line. Well, that play dead.
Neutral zone infraction, number 52, defense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Makes it a 3rd down and 4 now.
You know, we just don't see Sean McVay look confused on the offensive side very often. Of course, we did in the Super Bowl a few different times. But this is one that usually Matthew Stafford, this season anyway, has sort of fought his way out of some of these things, but not so far.
Yep. Crazy start, 3rd down and 4. Halfway through the second, and that's caught over the middle, and that is Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, who makes his first catch of the night and picks up the 1st down.
Oh boy, Troy Reeder almost had this one. They were showing that double-A blitz, and watch him fall underneath this slant route over here and just took a slightly off angle, or that one would have been his.
Titans now at the 34-yard line. Through the middle, and nothing happening there. A'Shawn Robinson is right there to stop McNichols. 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, and Jeremy McNichols, number 28, is the running back that they had on the roster and ready to go. But he's such a 3rd down weapon for them. They don't want to give him a bunch of carries because then they would have to rely on people without experience in those key 3rd down situations to make those same kind of plays.
Now, coming into the game, McNichols was the 2nd most utilized running back. He had 7 carries, and Henry had 219.
Watch out for Aaron Donald here in this one.
Here comes 99, puts the pressure on, and breaking a 1st tackle, but not a 2nd, is A.J. Brown as he makes the catch, and a flag comes in at the end. Rams have already been flagged 5 times for 45 yards tonight.
After the play, personal foul, face mask, defense number 21. 15-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
Dante Dion is the man, and that's 6 penalties tonight against a team that is normally at the top in terms of fewest penalties. Raheem Morris is the defensive coordinator. Of course, Wade Phillips was there for a number of years. We'll take a look at Dion again. Brandon Staley last year, now Raheem. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, sometimes when you weigh under 160 pounds, you do what you got to do, I guess.
Leverage. No penalties on Tennessee. Rams hurting themselves. Peterson is back in the game from the 18-yard line. Play clock at 1. Peterson to the outside. No room. No gain.
You know, this will catch up here eventually against this Titans offense. So far, the Rams defensively has done pretty well stopping the run. So then in the secondary, you start not worrying so much about the play action. So this has been the basic formula so far. But right now, this Rams defense really needs a stop.
2nd and 10. Tannehill, look out, and the ball is dislodged. Troy Reeder with the pop that time on Chester Rogers. Whoa. 3rd and 10.
Rolling on the field is an incomplete pass.
You're going to get the crossing route coming across right here, and oh, that high and behind throw right there is just painful because it just put a target on the back of Chester Rogers. That was some shot. Maybe that shot changes the tone of this game.
There is Von Miller. Piece of the ankle, not playing tonight. probably back next week in San Francisco. To the outside, the catch is made there, and slipping away is Julio Jones, who's missed 3 games this season. Of course, got him in that big offseason deal with Atlanta. A little short of the first down. Broke away from Darius Williams, and for the moment it looks like they marked it a little bit short of the first.
But it sure is good to see Julio Jones. I watched all his throws so far this year, and he did not look like Julio Jones. So far tonight, he has.
So it's 4th down, 1. Line up to go for it from the 8-yard line. Foreman is the running back. Keeper, Tannehill. And he should have enough for the first, and does. 1st and goal.
This one's all on the old veterans right up front. Let's start with the center in there, Ben Jones. That is just one-on-one, and when he was able to get underneath his defender, just enough movement there to get that first down.
No easy task against that Rams front, but there they are at the 7-yard line on the 1st and goal with 3:45 to go in the half. Foreman. It's about half the distance. Takes it down inside the 3-yard line. 2nd down and goal.
This team is just all fight, aren't they? I mean, the Titans, this is one of those teams that you don't want to play in a 10-degree game in January, playing for a championship, and they sort of build it all that way. There's Todd Downing, and this offense pounding away as well. So it really doesn't matter. Obviously, they love to have Derrick Henry, but they are not jerking the wheel, as they call it.
Meanwhile, you've got Tannehill as a wideout. Peterson will take the snap, and Adrian Peterson tries to fight his way to the goal line and can't. So Adrian Peterson has only been in camp for a couple of days, but they ran some wildcat with him, obviously. That play right there creates a 3rd down and goal.
I tell you, the thing I've noticed about Adrian Peterson so far is he's running high, and he's allowing people to get underneath his pads. Ordinarily, you see Peterson, he sees that goal line, those shoulders drop. But when he raises up like that and allows people to hit him under the shoulder pads in the chest, that's just not his style of running.
Now from the gun, Foreman is the back, 3rd down and goal. Play fake, pass is out of the back of the end zone. Intended for Brown. Covered by Dion, so it's 4th down and goal. So they went for it from the 8 or 9 yard line on 4th down. Do they go for it again here? Peterson stays in, bring in an extra guy up front. 4th and goal. Big play.
Offensive lineman in the backfield. No fullbacks available here tonight.
And they run the play clock all the way down, and the Rams took a timeout.
Los Angeles.
The Titans, when it comes down to goal to go, they are terrific. 68 of 74. They get into the end zone. Tops in the league. Of course, you've got Derrick Henry in the backfield with 25 of those 68 touchdowns. But we told Tannehill about that number last night. He was impressed.
Yeah, you always have a little surprise for him.
You never know. 411 is going to come in. He's the lineman who had lined up in the fullback position.
Both Torrey Carter and Corey Blasingame out, the 2 fullbacks.
Swain is now in there as the fullback. Peterson, the tailback. 4th and goal. Play fake. Tannehill, he can run, and he does. Touchdown. A little finger roll, which has become his trademark. And the Tennessee Titans 1 point away from making it an 18-point game.
Tannehill had the 2 big conversions last week against the Colts as well on keepers. There is not going to be a receiver in sight. This is all or nothing. Either he walks in the end zone or he doesn't. And he just simply strolls in there. Great gutsy call there by Todd Downing, the offensive coordinator.
Extra point is good by Bullock. 2:10 to play in the half. Stunning. 21-3 Titans. It's Thursday, new episodes weekly. Speaking of Paris Hilton, she is in attendance tonight. Her grandfather, Baron Hilton, was one of the original founders of the American Football League back in 1960. Owned the Los Angeles Chargers, moved to San Diego the next year. So one of the originals, and of course, Amy Adams Strunk, who is the owner of the Tennessee Titans. Her father was one of the original AFL founders as well.
I love how you spun that back to football.
Yes,
Perfect. You're a veteran.
What can I tell you? Oh, yeah, I'm a veteran, all right. Goal line, Buddy Howell. Out to the 20-yard line he goes, and with 2:04. One play before the 2-1.
Let's take a look at the Walmart Plus 4K Skycam. It has been Jeffrey Simmons, Kevin Byard, but early on it was Danico Autry who really set the tone for what was going to be a Titans defensive night, and he was all over the place, making play after play, and really started the frustration of Matthew Stafford.
Stafford is 7 of 13 for 46 yards. In the pocket, over the middle, that is caught. It's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. Higbee makes the grab right there. 1:57 precisely left in the half. 21-3 Tennessee.
Comes back in Dallas, but they really struggle.
And what has happened to the Buffalo offense?
In Arizona, keeping the pressure on the Rams. Al, we'll see at halftime.
Absolutely, some crazy stuff, and some of it happening right here. A little lake outside of SoFi Stadium. In its second year of existence. Of course, last year they played here with no fans. And tonight, Tennessee has stunned this crowd. Can the Rams do something before the half? Because Tennessee's going to get the ball to start the second half. Stafford under pressure all night. That offensive front with their hands full. They've been playing very well up until now. Until tonight, as Stafford, look out, goes down again at the 20-yard line. That's Jeffrey Simmons, who's having the night of night. He's going to go to the Pro Bowl off the first half. 3 sacks.
Simmons is taking over this game. That is his 3rd sack. And don't forget about the almost safety that led to the interception. He has dominated everything.
9-yard sack now to go to Cooper Kupp. To the 27-yard line he goes. It'll be 3rd down and 13, and Tennessee takes a defensive timeout. They want to get the ball back. Let's take a look at Simmons tonight.
Just a remarkable night, and this is that inside pressure that they were hoping to get, and this time Simmons really not beating his man, just folding back underneath. But here he goes inside with the play to make it against the run down on the goal line to set up the one that was the almost sack. There's the bull rush. And just play after play after play, he has just been living in the face of Matthew Stafford. That was their theory coming in, that you don't scare him with pressure around the edge. You bother him and you move him when you have pressure inside, and Simmons has just dominated inside.
Has the hat trick in the first 20.5 minutes of the game. 3rd down and 13 after the Titans timeout. Stafford, they keep in the pocket, and that's knocked down to the line of scrimmage. The Rams had allowed 8 sacks all season. They've allowed 4 in the half.
You know, we talked a little bit about that this team has not been asked under Sean McVay to do a lot of protection and straight drop back. A lot of the bootlegs, a lot of the play action, a lot of that stuff. This has been predominantly drop back, and so far they've been getting whipped up front.
Johnny Hecker, his 4th punt of the night. The team's not having a good night when your punters had to send it away 4 times and a half. Bouncing ball down at about the 27-yard line. 1:14 the half. Cruise down Hollywood Boulevard on this Sunday night. Austin Felix, born and raised here, honored earlier tonight At SoFi, 11-time Olympic medalist. That's the most in U.S. track and field history. Her home is a virtual Fort Knox.
Her home is the medal stand.
It is. Titans from the 28-yard line. Tannehill, and he's going to go down. Okoronkwo comes bursting through, and that's the first sack of the night for the Rams.
That was a meeting at the quarterback right there. Okoronkwo and Leonard Floyd on the other side. Both of them just flying off the edge here. And now we've got some problems in pass protection as well for the Titans. Bobby Hart over there replacing Taylor Lewan, and on the other side Leonard Floyd, and that is some move there against Quesenberry. So now
the Rams took a time.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're dying to get the ball back. Even though they haven't done anything tonight. But otherwise, Tennessee's looking for the daily double. They get the ball here. They get the ball to start the second half.
I tell you what, you've got to try and find Julio Jones. He's running again.
Instead, they keep it on the ground and give it to McNichols. And McNichols, with a good game, needed 15, got about 12. Tackled there by Williams. And the clock stops as Peterson looks on from the bench. He's carried the ball, Adrian Ash, tonight 5 times for 9 yards.
Yeah, and so far, I mean, I just have to be honest with you, Foreman and McNichols really have looked the better of the runners in this one. But I think now you have to put the pedal down here. This is a chance to really go for the kill shot against the Rams.
3rd and 1. He might. Over the middle, that's caught. There is Jones, enough for a first down. So they keep the ball. Aon is right there. Tennessee now takes the timeout with 55 seconds. Flag comes in. A lot of jawing right after that play. Ramsey already has been fouled once tonight, called for a foul. The fouler, not the foulee.
There are 2 fouls on the play, one by each team. Unsportsmanlike conduct taunting, number 5 of the defense. Unsportsmanlike conduct taunting, number 11 of the offense. That's their first unsportsmanlike towards disqualification. Timeout, Tennessee, their second.
Jones and Ramsey. Here it is again. Sooner or later.
Yeah, A.J. Brown knows better than that. He even talked about it with us last night. He knew what he was going to get out of Ramsey. He was going to try and get under his skin. He said, I don't play that way. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to react in that way. I'm just going to walk back to the huddle, and he should have. But fortunately for the Titans, it was all after the play.
I think Vrabel is saying, didn't Ramsey have an unsportsmanlike conduct before? And there's another one here. This could be what that conversation is about right now. Meanwhile, Tennessee is going to be given its timeout back because of the penalties. Rodgers now, Brad for the explanation, we hope. Here's the first one.
The first foul by number 5 was a personal foul in the first quarter. It was not an unsportsmanlike conduct. Therefore, that is 5's first unsportsmanlike conduct of the game on this foul.
All right, so he's not thrown out. And instead stays in there right now. And Sean McVay has not seen many halves like this in his career. Tennessee now on a first down. Tannehill dumps it off. 5-yard gain. Jeremy McNichols. And timeout now taken by Tennessee. That's their second. NBC's La Brea, TV's #1 news show, keeping everyone on the edge of their seats. Don't miss an all-new La Brea. And there is the real La Brea Tar Pits. Tuesday on NBC.
That's it, huh?
That's it. Part of them, anyway. About maybe 8 or 9 miles from SoFi Stadium. We'll visit it later tonight.
Let's not. So, personal foul and unsportsmanlike conduct. Terry, you want to take a quick one at that?
Sure. And he announced unsportsmanlike conduct on the first one. It looked like it was a personal foul, unnecessary roughness to me, so I was a little surprised when he announced unsportsmanlike conduct. It would have been his first had it been unsportsmanlike conduct.
He's in the game at the moment anyway. With a 2nd down and 5 now with 49 seconds. Tannehill under pressure, gets bumped and sacked at the 39-yard line. Floyd and Greg Gaines are both there. So now it's 3rd down. Clock keeps running. And 11. One of these situations where I thought the Rams might take a timeout here.
Yeah, and ordinarily you throw that ball to A.J. Brown, you're already given up 1 interception, and on the other side, Julio was covered as well. But these 2 receivers, they are really big, and some of the cornerbacks, in particular Dante Dion, not that big, and they really haven't tested that part of it yet.
Tannehill, screen pass here, McNichols, and that will take us to halftime. The Titans get the second half kickoff. They lead 21-3. Toyota halftime next. Mike, Tony, and Drew to tell you what is on tap. Guys.
Wow. Stunning first half. Can you explain, please?
Well, Tennessee Titans defensive line totally dominated the first half.
Yeah, they did.
And Rams just take care of the football. Quit turning it over. You've given them 2 touchdowns.
You can't take care of it when you can't block the other guys.
Get the ball out.
Both teams are right around 100 or less yards in that first half. Still dominant for Tennessee. Coming up, we'll have highlights from today. Of course, no Aaron Rodgers. So Jordan Love made his first start for Green Bay. It was a struggle. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, not spectacular, but they won. We'll try to make sense of the first half of the season. Well, we'll just talk about it. Next on the Toyota Halftime.
Want more stats? Hey Siri, who leads the league in receiving touchdowns?
In Los Angeles, as the Rams take on the Tennessee Titans on Sunday Night Football. And Stafford gets spun down, fires it away. It's picked off, and Tennessee will have a 1st and goal from the 2. Wide open touchdown, and that's going to be picked off for the touchdown.
Chevrolet, find new roads.
21-3, Tennessee on top. Ryan Tannehill rushing for a touchdown, 15th time he's run for one since 19. Stafford, 24th career pick 6, first 23 in Detroit, most among active players. Had one tonight. Byard, first career pick 6. The man who has a ton of interceptions, first time he's gone to the house. And Simmons is really the star of the game. 3 sacks, a quarterback hit. I told you I ran into him in the elevator at the hotel as we went downstairs today. I said, hey, you go to the Pro Bowl with a big game on Sunday Night Football. He says, I'm ready.
He's there.
I'll say.
He is there.
Tennessee to get the ball. We start the second half at SoFi Stadium. And we go to Michelle.
Well, Mike Variable knows his defense is carrying the offense right now. He told me, I want to see us play better offensively, protect Tannehill, and get some points, sort of like giving a pitcher run support in baseball. As for Sean McVay, goodness, she said, he took responsibility for his offense's struggles. He said, I got to put them in position where they can be efficient on early downs so we're not giving Tennessee those known passing looks where they can pressure our quarterback.
Michelle, amazing. Each team has 94 total yards, period, in the first half. From the 25-yard line, here's Foreman. Deontay Foreman picks up a couple. Second down and long. Ernest Jones with the stop.
Well, we've had a lot of disruption from defensive linemen, and Aaron Donald certainly has been a part of that so far in the first half, but he hasn't literally taken over the game the way that Simmons has on the other side. Tannehill doing a better job getting the ball out of his hands than Matthew Stafford has been doing.
Off play action, that'll be a first down. That's Swain, who caught the touchdown pass earlier. Taylor Rapp makes the tackle. First down for the Titans.
Yeah, this is just one of those kind of games where you understand, and everybody understands when you play against Aaron Donald, that, all right, you got to get the ball out a little bit quicker. You have to run the football. You have to slow him down in some way. But so far, the flip side of that has been the Rams offense that's just been going drop back pass and getting slaughtered out there.
Foreman starts to stumble and still might have the first down, very close to it, and does. They're going to give him forward progress to the 47-yard line and a first down.
Yeah, one of the things you want to do is double team Donald as much as possible. Watch this one here. They are just going to bury him. That's a pancake. It took two of them to do it, but it created that hole.
Brewer and Quesenberry with a crunch job. 4 carries, 25 yards for the guy who they recently signed. Peterson and Foreman coming in because of the injury to King Henry. Tannehill throws, and that is incomplete. Intended for A.J. Brown and covered there by Jordan Fuller. 2nd and 10.
Jordan Fuller, the captain in just his 2nd season. Pretty amazing the kind of leadership skills that that young man has. And right now, I do think there are opportunities out here for Tennessee in the passing game. For Sean McVay, I'm sure he's going to give us a completely different look in the second half. That was just out of character for the Rams on offense, what we've seen. But these big receivers need to have some catch and run opportunities on the outside against the Rams.
2nd and 10. And this time it's McNichols. Tackled inbounds. Ramsey makes the stop there. Gain of 6, 3rd and 4.
Aaron Donald so many times will take a backdoor release to try and catch a play. He just missed this one. And give Aaron Brewer some credit in there. He's about the same size, really, that Donald is. And maybe he matches up a little bit with some of that great quickness that Donald has. He didn't miss by much, though.
McNichols playing with his 7th team. 3rd down and 4. Tannehill fires, and that's not caught. Fuller right there on Brown, so the Rams hold him.
Boy, A.J. Brown, that's his 2nd 3rd down drop that would have kept the drive alive. You only get about 11, 12 drives per game, and that's 0 for 2 based on 2 of his drops. He is some player, though.
Oh,
it's amazing he's having this kind of night.
Brett Kern, his 3rd punt. Cooper Kupp is back there calling for and making a fair catch at the 11-yard line. 2.5 into the 3rd quarter. 21-3 Tennessee. May as well send their draft room, make it a bowling alley or something. The last first-round pick by the Rams, Goff back in 16. They traded up with Tennessee. 6+ years without a first-round pick, and they won't have one until 2024 unless they make a trade, because next year and the year after they traded those picks to Detroit. Les Snead is on the left there. He is. He loves those trades. And of course the most recent one is Von Miller, not playing tonight, coming back from the ankle ailment, ankle injury, should play next week. First down Rams from the 12 to the outside. Caught. Woods has been pretty silent tonight. Get him into the action. They need him. Chris Jackson makes the tackle there. Gain of 18.
There you go, Sean McVay. Get back to your offense here. This offensive line has not been holding up. So what do? You get those defensive linemen running sideways, chasing that outside zone play, come with the bootleg, and there it is. Man, he's been under pressure.
Chased out again, flags all over the place. You see a couple, and just tosses it to the bench. Autry that time coming in. Talking to Harold Landry last night, he said we want to keep Stafford in the pocket, and for the most part they've done that tonight.
Yeah, and they've done a heck of a job.
Holding. Offense. Number 79. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Rob Havenstein.
But you can't leave one of their best pass rushers if you're going to do a play action fake and land right behind the pocket. I mean, it's got to be 3 or 4 times tonight in this game that we've seen just clean rushes come in after Stafford, and Stafford's been holding the ball, which means the coverage down the field has been better. He's faced double the pressure rate that he has all season in this game against the Titans defense.
As you saw, Rams, the least penalized team in the league coming in, but tonight 7 penalties after they've been averaging 4 per game. Here's Woods, and Woods out to the 25-yard line.
Boy, it really is nice to have an athlete that can not only play wide receiver for you, but can also come out and line up in the backfield and run the ball. So they're trying to go to a little pace now on offense.
2nd and 14. Stafford fires. That'll be caught. Spin move. Jefferson, and he gets out to the 46-yard line. So the Rams trying to get something going. Gain there on the pass to Jefferson of 20 yards.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Simmons going to see the whole gang. He had 3 guys on him that time. That's the first pass they've had the entire game, complete 10 yards down the field. And why did it happen? It's not that the guys can't get open, it's that they could not protect it, and that time they did.
Stafford finally reaches 100 yards on that completion. To the ground. Great tackle made there. Naquan Jones making sure Henderson couldn't get started. 2nd down.
340-pound rookie inside there making that play, and it doesn't really matter who it is along that defensive line. They're playing hard.
Flag. Might be too many men on the Titans, and it's dropped at the 10-yard line by Jefferson. Hooker is there. Looked like the Titans were trying to get an extra man off the field at the snap. Guess the penalty will benefit the Rams.
12 players participating on the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Yeah, they really had something working here. They're going to work on the safeties down the field. You're going to see Jayon Brown dropping deep right in the middle, but they really felt like there was room in behind on those safeties when they were trying that Tampa 2 to just go ahead and throw up a couple of shot plays. Really had a chance for that one there. That won't be their last.
That's the first penalty of the night against the Titans. Rams have been flagged 7 times. Small discussion here.
We have seen this Rams offense explode at times this year. They could use a little pop right here.
2nd and 5 just across midfield. And all right, Brad Rogers, very deliberate making some of these calls tonight.
Can we say this is a strange game so far?
Extremely. There were a few of them today. What do we have here? Nothing. Okay. I don't know. Take a guess. We're looking at Terry McAuley back east, and he's even putting his palms up. All right. I hear you. 2nd down and 5.
They put a microphone on those guys.
Yeah. Anderson bounces his way to the 45. Hooker makes the tackle. A little more than 10 minutes to go in the 3rd down and 1.
Yeah, they're starting to rotate down a little bit, which is going to create some of those one-on-one opportunities. For the most part, we've seen 2 deep safeties back the greater part of this game, which invites running opportunities. But now you can see the Titans starting to creep down and playing a little bit more of that one safety look.
1 out of 7 on 3rd down. 3rd and 1 here.
Gotta run this one.
Nope. Gonna throw it. Gonna pick up the 1st down. Tyler Higbee off to the races to the 19-yard line. So the tight end able to haul that one in. Higbee now 3 catches for 43 yards. That's a gain at 26. He's their leading receiver.
That was really good. They came up with some late pressure. Didn't show it early. It looked like it was going to be just a layup of a run play. There was nobody around the line of scrimmage, and then all of a sudden they all shifted over, and here they came.
3 catches, leading in yardage. In receptions, 43 for the Rams. Kupp has 4 catches, but for only 30. Rolling against the grain, throwing. That is caught. Jefferson, and he'll take the ball to a 1st and goal situation at the 5-yard line.
They have gone back to Sean McVay's offense with these bootlegs, protecting the offensive line, defensive linemen running sideways, and put the ball in Stafford's hands in space.
You wonder what took so long tonight.
I'm with you.
Little fade and incomplete. Chris Jackson covering Van Jefferson on that play. It'll be 2nd down and goal.
Jefferson jumped about 3 seconds too early. He would have had to have about a 90 vertical to make this one work. Jackson's been playing well, though, hasn't he?
Very.
Gonna jump, and then on the way down as the ball flew over.
Eight and a half in the 3rd. Tennessee up by 18, 2nd down and goal from the 4.
Watch out for the Rams in these situations.
Stafford throwing, and that one is juggled and not caught. That's Jefferson back of the end zone. Questionable if he hauled it in, whether he could have stayed in bounds anyway. 3rd down and goal.
They are getting out of the pocket, and wisely so. The offensive linemen all sprinting to the right, and all they're trying to do is just provide Stafford with a little bit of time. We have not seen his main go-to guy down here yet, Cooper Kupp. Usually this is almost automatically, certainly one of the 3, you would think.
Absolutely. That's Kupp in motion. Stafford under pressure again, avoids the sack, fires, and that is caught back of the end zone. Touchdown, Tyler Higbee. Big night for the Rams tight end. So they go 88 yards, 10 plays, 7 passes, and Higbee for the score.
Well, let's give a lot of credit to Matthew Stafford on that one. He was in big trouble. He wiggled off the hook here just to create a little space, just a 3-man rush. But watch him direct traffic down the field. Both his receivers went all the way to the corner of the end zone, and both came back. Really nice adjustment. I was worried, did he step out of bounds? Apparently not.
Autry and Simmons tried to put him in a vice. Here it is again. Did he step out at the end?
Remember the old toe heel? That may just be the toe.
McVay looking up, saying, "Oh no, they got to confirm this, please."
This is a monster call.
It is.
I thought that looks like it.
Well, the verdict. Judge Judy will weigh in when we come back. This is as close as it gets. A couple of angles looks like he's in. One angle looks like his foot is on the chalk.
That's the one that I
that's
think.
the one. And then there are a couple of others where you see green. What's going to happen here? Brad Rogers is going to let us know.
We've had a healthy debate up here.
Yes, we have. And they're having a debate down there as well.
After review, the receiver went out of bounds and was the first to touch the ball coming back inbounds. It's an illegal touching on the receiver. That's a loss of down. It's 4th down.
So they overturn it, and now you're down by 18, and it's 4th down. do you go for here? Another look. He doesn't have the ball at this point. He's out of bounds first. Then he's inbounds there. He's inbounds there. He's inbounds there. But he steps out and the first to touch it. So meanwhile, now you've got Matt Gay coming in. They will not go for it on 4th down. And try to make it at least a 2-possession game, which they do. But that's a Pyrrhic end to a long drive. 21-6. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Bose, the official sound of the NFL. And by Capital One, what's in your wallet? Look back at Super Bowl 34 from the '99 season in Atlanta. That's the way the game ended. Kevin Dyson, as time ran out, couldn't get in. Kurt Warner. Nobody knew about Kurt Warner at the beginning of the year. Trent Green was going to be the quarterback. Got hurt in preseason. Who is this guy? Well, what a year. What a year. What a run. Rams wound up 13-3 after they were 4-12. Dick Vermeil was the coach. What a game.
Truly one of the most remarkable stories in all of football with Kurt Warner. No question about that.
And there is Isaac Bruce, who scored the winning touchdown just before the 2-minute warning after Tennessee had erased a 16-0 deficit to tie the game.
On a bomb.
Oh, yeah. Being run back by Marcus Johnson. And he brings it back out to the 21-yard line. So the two key guys at the end of the game, where are they now? The tackle, Mike Jones and Kevin Dyson. There it is, reaching Jones, making the tackle to save the game. So Dyson is a doctor now, principal, Centennial High School in Tennessee. Great for him, great story. Mike Jones, varsity football coach, St. Louis University High School in Missouri. 12 years there, both guys doing really well. What a moment.
You wonder how many times they've been asked about that play.
Sure. Start from the 20-yard line here. Adrian Peterson have been bottling him up tonight. Gains 3 on what was his 6th carry of the night. He has 6 totes for 13 yards.
Well, and that's really what the game's going to come down to now. This Rams defense is just going to have to play great because they're going to need possession after possession back for this offense and to create some momentum. This was the #1 overall defense in all of football a season ago. They have been better as of late. They have not lived up to that standard.
2nd and 7. On the outside, trying to get some blocking is Jones, but Fuller comes in there to make the tackle. So Julio Jones has been injured much of the season, missed 3 games, 11th year in the league. Of course, spectacular career, good enough. Very likely a Hall of Fame someday in Canton. Comes over from Atlanta. Just in a way like Tannehill, changes scenery.
Now, he had the hamstring issue a season ago and has not, in my opinion, run full speed a single time this year. I did see it in the first quarter of this game.
3rd and 3. Spread it out here. And there's some flinching going on.
False start. Offense. Number 86. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Tight end Anthony Ferkser.
Not much doubt. Little flinch. That one hurts. Because the difference between what they had and what they have now means Aaron Donald and company are coming like it's the start of the 100 meters.
3rd down and 8. Four-man rush. Tannehill gets it away, and it is along the sideline. Brown.
Where are they going to mark that?
Yeah, where are they going to spot it? Have to get to exactly the 30-yard line, and about a yard shy. Dion makes the tackle. 4th and 1.
Let's take a look. Forward progress stopped right where he catches it, really, but that was short. And that means a punter on the field. And that was a big-time stop by the Rams.
And that was a big penalty against Tennessee, as you say, to push them back. Picked up only 7 when they needed 8. Kern. Fair catch call for Meade at the 29 by Cooper Kupp. 5:34 downtown Los Angeles on this Sunday night. 21-6. New coach Ariana Grande takes The Voice live, where the vote is all up to you. Watch live, vote live. The Voice Monday and Tuesday right here on NBC. Rams now start this drive from their own 29-yard line. Down by 15. Stafford out of the pocket. Woods tackled at the 25-yard line by Elijah Molden. Gain of 6.
Al, they have moved the pocket almost every single play that they've thrown the ball. Watch all the linemen, and then you're going to get Stafford over here. It's smart. It's what they should have been doing in the first half, honestly. They just wasted a half of opportunities because they sort of stubbornly stuck to the protection of the straight drop back, which has been working for them. It clearly was not the first half.
Great point. 2nd and 4. Henderson going to come up about a yard shy. Jackrabbit Jenkins makes the tackle. 3rd and 1.
Now this is, you know, it's not often that you see great offenses sort of look stale or methodical or, you know, like they're stuck in some way. But we just have not seen this Rams team that has done so great getting the ball down the field to Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. Those plays haven't been there at all tonight. And give the Titans credit.
A lot of credit. Kupp with 4 catches, but for only 30 yards. They're down in 1. Stafford fires. Here's Kupp. Cooper Kupp into Titans territory to the 46-yard line. When he faces, get back out there. We're picking up the pace.
The single biggest mismatch in this game coming in was Cooper Kupp going against the rookie slot Elijah Molden. And that's really the first time they've tried to take advantage of it.
Allen upset that the official is holding it up. It's a snap away. The pass is too high. Intended for Tyler Higbee. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Matthew says, my fault.
Yeah, it's fun. This is a team that really believes that they have overcome the inability to adjust in game to make plays. And for Matthew Stafford, we have not seen a stat line like that for him all season long. And Cooper Kupp either. If the Rams are going to make a run here, it has to come from Kupp and it has to come from Robert Woods.
Woods is going through the knife for 38 yards. Here's Jefferson, breaks a tackle, takes it to the 40-yard line. Danny makes the stop right there. It'll be 3rd down and 4. Rams going no huddle. A little over 3 minutes to play in the 3rd. Sonny Michel comes in to provide protection. Stafford gets out of trouble. Hits Michel. Michel looking for the 1st down, and he's close. So the former New England Patriot came over in a trade at the beginning of the season. They're going to spot the ball just shy of the 35-yard line. And so you've got a 4th down and about a half yard to go here.
And it also gave the Titans an opportunity to substitute in.
4th and inches.
Jeffrey Simmons has been the quarterback sneak nightmare for a lot of teams, including Buffalo. See what he does here.
Does Stafford keep it? Nope. Gives the ball to the running back Michel, and he picks up the 1st down. Needed half a yard, got a little more than that. 1st down.
Al, it's not often that you see a wide receiver lead blocking on a 4th and 1 play, but that's what the Rams expect these wide receivers to do. And Robert Woods got just enough of that block to pick up the first down.
And you're talking to them, they embrace it too.
Oh, they love it.
Stafford over the middle this time, and that is Kupp, and he's well covered. Tackled there by Jayon Brown. Played his college ball up the road at UCLA. 2nd and 5.
Yeah, good to have Jayon Brown back in this defense. They have really sort of rotated in and out. Rashaan Evans, the other guy, he's been out with an ankle for a couple of games now. But Jayon Brown is a little bit more of that leader in there, has the ability to get this defense set. We've seen him in some good coverage situations already.
2nd and 5. They keep Michel in the game.
I got him.
Looks like pressure. Stafford said, I got it.
Bunch, 3 receivers to the right. Here goes Michel. He's able to scramble to the 31-yard line. Almost tackled in the backfield. And another big 3rd down, almost tackled by David Long Jr., 3rd down and 5.
Yeah, David Long is playing a good game. He kind of flashed a little bit of the pressure here, and then was able to shoot through the gap and make the play, or almost make the play, but disrupt the play in the backfield.
Another big 3rd down. Stafford is going to get swallowed up at the 36-yard line. Autry and Landry are both there. So a 3rd and 5 now becomes a 4th and 11.
Harold Landry, I don't know how much of that sack he's going to get off the edge here, but he comes in with 8.5. And the drop back game to me is something that I would put on the folded under part of my play call sheet right now. I would just go, okay, we're not doing any more of that. Let's stick to that move the pocket stuff.
Don't have to run a play. It's a 4th and 11. Do they take it to the 4th quarter, or do they run the play here and they'll take it to the 4th quarter? That's the end of 3. Tennessee 21, Los Angeles 6. Sunday Night Football back after these messages. Best records in the NFC. The Cardinals win today. Kind of a stunner in a way, because without Kyler Murray, without DeAndre Hopkins, Colt McCoy at the helm, and they routed the 49ers. Rams 7-1 coming in. Packers lose to Kansas City. And then in the AFC, the Titans would go to 7-2. And the Titans and the Ravens, the only teams in the AFC with 2 losses. Chargers, Bills, Raiders with 3 losses. 54-yard field goal will be attempted here by Matt Gay. 54 to try to make it 21-9. And the kick on the way. Good. That would have been good from 60 yards. Gay able to hit it 5 seconds into the 4th.
So many times it's the holder that can make a long kick like that look easy, and that was well done. You know, Al, you really hit on the key to what's going on in the NFC right now, is that you could have the Rams with the 2nd best record and having to play on the road in the wild card round, because they've already lost to the Arizona Cardinals once. And so it's a very unusual situation, but with the format, I mean, every game for the Rams, they have to kind of hold serve.
When they went to the extra playoff team, 7 instead of 6, only 1 bye. There's just 1 bye. So the Rams in contention for that right now, but Arizona, tremendous win today.
It really is, and you just have to say at this point in the season, the way that everybody else seems to be getting knocked off and surprised, and this was your favorite team, and yet Arizona just keeps finding a way to win.
Some stunners today. Dallas never in the game against Denver. 2 yards in. Marcus Johnson brings it back out to the 24-yard line, and we go to Michelle.
Well, a reminder, Von Miller inactive tonight because of that ankle, but he was in the training room in Denver Monday morning when he was called into the office of Broncos general manager George Paton. And Von told me, my heart started beating really fast and I got anxious, and Paton said, we're trading you. And the next instant he heard, to the Rams. And Vaughn compared the entire moment to a splinter. We're taking it out as the most painful part, but immediately it starts to feel better. He said it hurt so bad, and I was sad, but it's not a bad thing. It feels right.
And Michelle, Super Bowl MVP when they beat Carolina in Super Bowl 50. Foreman is the running back here from the 23-yard line. D'Onta Foreman chugs his way for 3 or 4. Vaughn said the other day, he said, I woke up 4-4. And the next thing I know, I'm 7-1. But Denver wins today, and the Rams have their hands full tonight.
Yeah, but you start thinking about the what ifs, right? If Von Miller returns to the form that he had early in the season before that ankle injury, he had 4.5 sacks to start this season, and he has been remarkable. You pair him with Leonard Floyd, who leads this team in sacks, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. Who knows what this defense could be?
They'll be in San Francisco for the Monday nighter next week. Ramsey was blitzing that time, and that is Swain who gets out of traffic and out of trouble and has a first down up at the 38-yard line.
End up with Ramsey coming off the edge at the top of your screen here. Play action fake, perfectly done, and just dump it out. And you know, one of the other things you have to take into consideration here for the Titans is that they've got D'Onta Foreman and Adrian Peterson, who really probably know very little about the protection schemes on this offense.
But that Foreman was able to get in there and impede Ramsey on the play. Look out, and finally, but flags are down. It's Aaron Donald who will get the sack. Normally when those flags are thrown in that situation, it's going to be offensive holding.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
They held Aaron Donald, and he still got the sack. Bobby Hart's having a tough time catching up, and I think Donald is going to plant himself right there.
Holding offense, number 68. That penalty is declined. Second down.
7-yard sack.
Yeah, it's tough. Anytime you've got to try and reach Aaron Donald with his quickness, it's hard to block him no matter what. But when you give him the inside edge to your quarterback, that ain't happening.
6 sacks on the season now for number 99. 2nd and 17. Titans go empty. Tannehill throws to the outside. Swain with the catch. 3rd down and long. Put Donald and Miller together. The Rams defenders. Tackles for loss or no gain versus the run. First is Aaron. 90.5 sacks. That's number 1. Vaughn since 11 when he came into the league. 82 tackles for loss or no gain. 110.5 sacks, the most.
Maybe the play of the game right here.
Big. 3rd and 10. Crowd at full throat. Here come the Rams. Caught at the 50-yard line. Holding it in is Julio Jones. And a first down, big first down for Tennessee.
Rams decide to go with pressure, which is going to leave some gaping holes inside. And Julio, the veteran, just went down deep enough to pick up that first down and make a tough catch. Good job by Tannehill, recognizing the pressure, getting the ball out of his hands before that pressure got there.
4 catches for Jones to 35. McNichols in the backfield. Give it to him. And he'll get slung down after a gain of 3 yards by A'Shawn Robinson. 2nd and 7.
Yeah, a little thin along the defensive line for the Rams tonight, so keep an eye on how they hold up going into the 4th quarter. Sebastian Joseph Day, who had 3 sacks on the season, is out with a pectoral injury, and they miss him inside, although I will say Greg Gaines played really well in his last outing, replacing him.
And number 91, Raheem Morris, the defensive coordinator. 2nd down. 2nd and 8. Movement up front, that's a false start, and that's Bobby Hart. Takes it back to a 2nd and 13.
False start. Offense. Number 68. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Yeah, Bobby Hart knows who he is, and he has to anticipate the snap count. Let's say that. But the Rams went to a 5-down defensive line look on that one. And there's his Taylor Lewan, who Bobby Hart's playing for tonight. But that 5-down look forces Hart to block a one-on-one on the outside. That's the reason he was trying to jump out there so quickly.
Ball back in Tennessee territory on a 2nd and 13. Tannehill pressured, gets it away, and it's incomplete. It's almost picked up by Ramsey. Jalen had one earlier. Oh, that close. Yep. Holds his fingers together. 3rd down and 13.
Yeah, not for me. There are a lot of places on the field I would attack. I would not attack Jalen Ramsey in that star position inside. There are better opportunities. He's had a big game. He's had a few fouls, but big game.
To try to get him thrown out for taunting again. That would do it. 3rd and 13. And they get to the 39. Tannehill has to throw it away. So the pressure that time put on, and the Rams are able to force a punt.
Yeah, you just don't know how much it impacts a quarterback to throw balls that ultimately end up intercepted. You know, do you hesitate just a moment on some throws to receivers that you would have made once that seed gets planted?
Curry to punt. This time it is J.J. Koski who is back there, and he's going to field it on a hop. It banged out of bounds after about a 5-yard return. 10.5 to go in regulation. Tennessee 21-9.
Let's take a look at our next gen stats powered by AWS. And what we saw in the first half was Matthew Stafford inside the tackle box with a 44 quarterback rating and 2 interceptions. What did they do in the second half? Let's get him outside the tackle box. Good idea. Up to a 90 rating, and everything started to flow for this offense. But for the step out of bounds on what would have been the touchdown pass, would have been a really good start for Stafford here in the second half.
Had to settle for a field goal because of that call. 3 field goals tonight for the Rams. 21-9. Drive begins back at the 17-yard line. Quick throw. Kupp. Gain of 9. Cooper Kupp now has collected 7 for 61 yards.
Now, there's nothing wrong with this kind of play when you're going inside the pocket, especially if Simmons is on the sideline. Then it works really well. But you allow somebody who has a quarterback mentality reading defenses in Cooper Kupp, let him work those inside zones, but you got to get the ball out of your hands.
No empty. I'll bring Henderson back in there. And Stafford under center. Looking deep, throwing deep, and incomplete. Coverage was good. I think Van Jefferson was closest, but he was out in El Segundo someplace. 3rd down and 1.
Now here we go on the bootleg pass, and they're going to try and hit it across with Stafford coming the opposite direction. The Titans well coached all over that. And was that the linebacker one more time, Jayon Brown, sprinting down the middle of the field? That was impressive.
3rd and 1. Under center again. Anderson gets it. Leading 1 got 2. Flag is now thrown.
Holding. Offense. Number 77. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's Andrew Whitworth. Huge call.
Let's take a look. I didn't see it initially. The cutback right there. I mean, it does have the. Yeah, there's a little hook of that arm for sure.
Sometimes they let it go.
Well, when it ends up back at the point of attack, you know, I think that's when you'll see it.
First holding call on Whitworth this season. 3rd down and 11. Stafford surveys, fires, caught. Woods out to the 40 and a first down. Big play. Rams needed that desperately on a 3rd and 11. Jones makes the stop, gain of 22.
Love the route here. He just bent him, looked like it was going to be a corner route to the outside, stops and turns around. And one of the strengths of this Rams offense has been the ability to convert those 3rd and longs.
Stafford fires. And this is Woods at the 49-yard line. Yeah, the Rams have converted on 3rd and 10 or more half the time. League average is 20%.
Watch the outside route. He's going to the outside, but no, stops and comes back in and then puts the little loop on the back end of it to give his quarterback Stafford just a little more space.
From the 49, Stafford fires, tipped and incomplete. Almost caught by Higbee after the tip by David Long. 2nd and 10. Man.
Oh, that was almost spectacular. Yeah, that close. David Long just saved the day because that was going to be about a 30-yarder right there. Almost made it anyway. Watch Long as he drops back underneath the coverage here, contort his body back the other way, and then almost.
Great play. Great play. Cup lines up in the backfield on a 2nd and 10. And they throw it to him. Cooper Kupp. It was stopped at the 43-yard line by Landry, Harold Landry. And another big 3rd down play coming up, 3rd down and 4.
Yeah, but you're also 3rd down and 4 in a situation, I think, where you're going for it on 4th down. So a lot of options open now for McVay.
Definitely in a 12-point game. Field goal would still make it a 2-possession game. Not going to punt.
I tell you, we see a lot of teams around this spot in the field. If they have a little trick play, sometimes these are the spots for them.
And Henderson back into the slot. Play clock at 1. Shoulder shake, pass, Henderson.
Tackle.
Great tackle, stopping him short. That's Amani Hooker. And then the Rams have a 4th down. 4th and about 1.5 yards.
Man, this looked like it was going to be a 1st down all the way, and Amani Hooker comes up and just nails him. Put that one in the back of the memory bank right there if they make a hold here.
Clock down to 7 minutes in regulation. 4th down, 1.5 yards. Henderson. Back with Stafford. Woods in motion. Rolling. Stumble. Throws and incomplete. Bud Dupree gets into the eye. And meanwhile, of all things on top of that, now you got Stafford down. So he can't convert on a 4th down, and the Titans do it again. Big stop on defense. Lead by 12. Football next week, we go to Las Vegas. Kansas City, a winner today over Green Bay against the Raiders in the suddenly extremely tight AFC West. There are the standings right there. Chargers 5-3, so is Vegas. KC now 5-4, and Denver shocking Dallas today. KC against Las Vegas. What a game that was on Sunday night. Just about the same time of the year last year.
Yeah, that was one of our favorites. With no crowd, we heard a lot of signals right at the line of scrimmage, too. It was fun.
Derek Carr. Started drive from the 41-yard line. Here's Peterson. stop here. Meanwhile, let's go back to take a look what happened to Matthew Stafford, Chris.
Yeah, just as he was throwing it, got hit. Watch that left ankle going to roll over. But he really, the stumble coming across the Ram in the middle of the field is really what cost them that play. And then the ankle was a penalty on top of it.
They wrapped it, put him on the table. It's wrapped up. Checking out the pictures here. Meanwhile, Tennessee using the clock. 2nd down and 9. Peterson bouncing. He takes it to the 48-yard line. So Adrian tonight, 8 carries in his Titans debut for 20 yards.
Yeah, you just don't see. I think when Adrian goes back and watches this tape, he's going to say, I'm too high. I've got to get down a little bit. But that was a big play to at least set up the possibility here now on 3rd down. And now Jeremy McNichols comes in there as the receiving threat, or at least the dual threat. I'll say it that way.
3rd and 3. And Swain inside as well. Tannehill rolling and then just fires that one incomplete. A penalty marker is down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 99. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Rams are killing themselves. That's 10 penalties for 95 yards.
Take a look. Terry?
Chris, it's not late. It's not to the head. It's just not a foul. I don't know why. You know, the 2-hand push, we see it called once in a while. Sometimes we don't see it called. That's not roughing the passer.
Well,
plus he initiated his movement to push him before the ball was out of his hands. I mean, how do you stop 285 pounds once you've started it?
No gain here. You saw McVay's reaction. So the Rams come into the game, least penalized team in the league, averaging a tick under 4 penalties per game, and 10 tonight.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's a place for protecting quarterbacks, and there's a place where, come on, let's let them play a little ball.
I mean, let's face it, this is not the best officiated game we've seen this year, by no stretch. Agree, Terry?
Oh.
Never mind.
The cone of silence just came down.
No, I know. 2nd down and 10. Tannehill, a little shovel to the 41-yard line, and that's hauled in there by Pruitt. And now another flag comes in.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 45. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Now this is a good call. No doubt about it. The end of this play coming in to the head and neck area, no doubt, right? We want no part of that.
Okoronkwo with the penalty. Rams now been penalized 11 times for 110 yards.
It's easy to, at this moment, say the Rams are beating themselves. No, they didn't.
No.
The Titans beat these guys.
Tennessee much better than the opposition tonight, no question.
Yeah, and they're 6-0 now against last year's playoff team. So let's give Tennessee due credit.
Right. From the 22. Going for the kill shot here. And that's going to be a 1st and goal. Brown makes the catch. Yeah, they beat the good teams. And the only teams that have beaten Tennessee this year, Arizona, of course, they're great right now, and the Jets.
Yeah. But here you go. This is the bread and butter, really, of the Titans offense. You run the ball effectively, and then you throw it over the middle to these big wide receivers. And that time, not even Jalen Ramsey could stop that without any help inside.
Three and a half left in the fourth. First and goal. Over the left side. And working his way down to the 2-yard line goes Jeremy McNichols. And timeout, Los Angeles. Mike Vrabel is one of the more underappreciated coaches in the league. Would you agree?
Not by me.
I'm saying by a lot of people.
No, I agree. Yeah. But I think that he's as old school a coach as we have in the game, maybe other than Bill Belichick at this point. He doesn't believe in schemes and out finessing opponents. He wants to go beat them up. And he does a great job of that. His offense is to pound them right at defenses, and his defense is relentless effort and non-stop physical play, and they have dominated inside tonight on the defensive side.
Second and goal. To the 1-yard line. McNichols. Last night we pointed out to Vrabel, they've used 77 players this year. They've had so many injuries. Last year, very healthy. 77, most in the league by 10. And the record is just about 7 away. And we pointed it out to Vrabel. I said, oh, shit, we'll get that easy.
No problem. We got that record for sure. But this has really been impressive because when you take out Taylor Lewan, that's a big deal. And this offensive line has been shuffling all night long. And I want to give a little tip of the hat to Aaron Brewer at right guard. I thought he was going to be the one that would get attacked tonight. And yet we really very rarely called his name. So a couple of guys that maybe were unexpected to play in there. Nate Davis had the concussion, but they have held up.
Third and goal. Rams have had to use 2 timeouts. Peterson, and Adrian is into the end zone. His season debut is 15th year in the league, and Adrian Peterson gets in for the touchdown.
Yeah, you have to be happy for Adrian Peterson. Corey Levin here, they're going to do this divide play, and it really makes linebackers take false steps when they see that fullback going one way and the back going the other. But that's the way that I'm used to seeing Adrian Peterson run right there.
His 125th career touchdown. 119 on the ground, 6 through the air, and that should cement it with 3 minutes to go in the fourth. 28-9 Titans in a stunner.
Let's take a look at the Walmart Plus 4K Skycam, and a lot of reasons that the Titans going to win this game, but here's the #1 reason. Their defensive line, Danico Autry early, then it was Jeffrey Simmons with the bull rush right back into Matthew Stafford. When you start doing that to a quarterback, then they make mistakes. And then you have Kevin Byard cleaning up like he's been doing for the last month and a half here, making play after play. This is a showcase win tonight for the Tennessee Titans.
Well, you pointed it out. They have been beating up the good teams, and the Rams recently have been beating up on the bottom feeders. And we go to Michelle.
As we take another look at Adrian Peterson scoring his 125th career touchdown. Remember, he's 36 years old. I asked him how much longer he wants to play. He said, I think I can play till I'm 40. I know my body will tell me when I'm done, but I never want to look back and wish I had played more when I was able. I've talked to a lot of retired guys who told me their bodies could no longer take the grind. And he said, last year was the best my body has felt after a season, but I won't fool myself. If I feel like I'm pressing it, I'll hang it up.
Michelle, we mentioned he's in great shape, all things considered, as the pass is caught here by Kupp. And cut down the sideline. How do we know that? When we saw last night, you know, we had to do his face shot for the lineups, right? So he comes in and we put the jersey on, right? But he has to take his shirt off. He looks like Charles Atlas. Remember who Charles Atlas was? No.
No, of course
you know what I'm
I
talking
know
about.
Charles Atlas. He looked just like.
Yes, he did. On first down, to the pass to the outside to Tyler Higbee for a couple.
You know, and the defensive line, there's Adrian Peterson. You got one of the really good guys. Don't want to shake his hand.
Oh, no.
Really good guys. But this secondary, I want to say a little something about them as well. You know, all those injuries, I was surprised they held up the way they did.
And it's caught here by Woods. First down at the 44-yard line. Clock running with under 2.5.
Shane Bowen's defense is clever, too. I mean, they always look like, they kind of look like Brandon Staley's Rams defense did a year ago. It always looks like a shell coverage, but then it turns into something else.
Staley's Chargers. A victor today in Philadelphia.
I mean, this is a team that when the weather turns, you don't want to line up to play these guys. But that was, what a night tonight by Jeffrey Simmons. Remember, he sprained his ankle last week. I wasn't even positive he was going to play. They couldn't even really practice this week because they had so many guys banged up.
2nd and 5. Cup to the 30-yard line. And that takes us to the 2-minute warning. But Tennessee, a nice trip home upcoming for them. 28-9. Normally it's aerial, but a lot of fog in Southern California today, so couldn't get the plane up for some aerials. There you go. Foghorn.
Over the lump boat.
Yeah. Some animal out there, I'm telling you. If somebody had a great meal, can I tell you? From the 29-yard line on first down with 2 minutes to go. Sony Michel. We're just into stats padding time. So the Titans will have a 5-game winning streak when this is said and done. And now you got David Long, who's had a big night. And he'll need a little bit of assistance to get back to the bench. He made the tackle on the play. And well, for Sean McVay, he'll regroup in 8 days from now in San Francisco on a Monday night.
David Long really has been something here the last few weeks, and I'm not sure exactly what happened to him there, but they have just sort of been rotating around that inside linebacker position. David Long, not the biggest guy in the world, about 225 pounds, but really, really physical play, and one of those guys you describe as faster than he times. Plays hard.
This is the only game in the history of the league with 2 David Long Jr.'s in the game. Rams, there's the other guy.
Well, we had Josh Allen's going at it earlier today.
Right.
Josh Allen sack on Josh Allen.
Yep. There's only one Jaquiski Tartt, though, I guarantee you that. So the Rams will go to 7-2. Donald's had better nights.
I mean, this league is so weird, isn't it?
Very.
It's just so weird.
I mean, look at today. Dak comes back. Last week we did the game in Minnesota with Cooper Rush. What's going to happen? They won.
Yeah.
Dak's back. They lose. What were they down 30-0 at one point?
I think 8-4 were the wins by the underdogs today. Yeah. Not against the spread, just straight up.
No. First time you've been a rascal too, talking about the spread.
I
know. You couldn't
talking about the meal after the game.
Gotcha. Or a formation. Ryan Tannehill, boy, his career got resurrected in that deal when they sent him to Tennessee. Over the middle, and that's incomplete. Stafford has now thrown 44 passes tonight.
Now, this is not what they're wanting to do. This, you know, sometimes, Al, this does happen to you, that as an offense, you get really hot and everything's clicking and you're going along and you're doing a few things out of character, but Sean McVay says, hey, it's been working. Matthew Stafford wants to do this. We want to do more straight drop back, more shotgun, not under center as much, all that, but it's working. All right, let's just keep it going. And then all of a sudden it catches up to you. And I'll bet you see a little bit of let's go back to basics of what we do in this offense after this week.
One hopper there. Stafford with that wrapped left ankle. Matthew also missed a couple of practices this week because of a stiff back. He had to wrap that up after he slipped and then got it twisted.
You know, we've talked to several coaches already this year and brought up the idea, is this game feel, does this season feel a little longer with that 17th game? It almost feels like they're practicing a little bit less. They're willing to let a player sit out occasionally. And there's this whole, let's get it to the off season and see how we do.
And going to the ground and holding it in is Woods near the first down marker.
You know, the other thing that we haven't talked about is I think there's a chance that the Titans get better. Bud Dupree is going to get healthier as this season goes along. And opposite Harold Landry, if they can get another edge presence with what they have inside, it could be really tough to handle.
Timeout. Tennessee. Their second.
Tennessee took a timeout here, and we can acknowledge the fact that, speaking of that Rams Titans Super Bowl, Isaac Bruce went into the Hall of Fame this year in Canton. David Baker, the retiring head of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Isaac Bruce made that catch on that Kurt Warner pass, adjusting for it, taking it to the end zone, and then Jones cemented it by keeping Dyson out of the end zone.
Torrey Holt.
Oh yeah.
Something.
Marshall Faulk.
Yeah. I didn't think anybody was going to beat that football team, and then the Patriots did.
2 years later, yeah. After Vermeil retired, Mike Martz took over. Fourth initial season. And that's the first down on the run here by Michel.
Look, the Rams are a good football team. We know that. They're going to get better. Von Miller is going to come back in here. They're going to be fine. It's just part of the league. Everybody has those weeks. This is one of them for the Rams.
One of them days. Yeah. One of them crazy days.
But we love offense in this world, right? We love fantasy football. We love a lot of points. But a lot of times championships are won by sort of ugly teams that play great defense, that can run the football as the weather turns.
Stafford throws and maybe cannot haul it in. You got Jackrabbit Jenkins with the tip, 3rd and goal.
Jackrabbit Jenkins.
I mentioned, I don't know that he's done it officially yet, but he wants to be. He's going to apparently go to court and get it changed.
It's a great name.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? JJ.
Call room service. What's your name again?
Jack.rabbit.com.
3rd and goal.
That's the way it's gone.
Yep.
Stafford has a wide open touchdown pass, and they blow it dead.
False start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
You know, Sean McVay's been here 4.5 years, and by far the most penalty yards in any game. We mentioned least penalized team in the league, coming in a dozen tonight, 115 yards, and some critical ones.
He'll be back.
Oh yeah. He'll be back, and the team will be back is what we're saying, right? Yeah. No, he's not in any trouble.
No.
Sean will have a 50-23 regular season record when this is over. You win 2 out of 3. He'll be around a while. Stafford throws back to the end zone. There's another flag. What else is new? And no sign yet with Woods holding it in, so we don't have a sign. We do have a flag. And this is true garbage time right now.
Illegal contact, defense number 20. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Jackrabbit.
A little Jackrabbit hug. They'll come right down there, and you'll see the hug at the tail end. Then they just try and hit the post in behind it. But once both arms went around the shoulder pads, that was it.
Well, 37 total points in the game, and that's not a factor right now. You know what I mean? Yes, you do. To the 3-yard line, Stafford, and he slings it, and it's going to be caught by Michel. And guess what? Well, there's more laundry on the field.
Holding. Defense number 20. The penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
The daily double.
Matthew Stafford has already proven multiple times that you pick the arm angle and he can do it. Little Kent to Colby on that one.
Yeah.
Drop it down, sidearm. I mean, Stafford has been so good this year. It's almost unrecognizable what we're seeing out here. You know, this offense is just lighting it up.
Gay for the extra point. So it took the Rams 59 minutes and 36 seconds to get into the end zone. NFC West, AFC South. The division divide. The NFC West 16-7. Against all other divisions. AFC South 8-16. That's the lowest percentage. You got Houston and Jacksonville. A big win for Jacksonville today. NFC West against the AFC South. The mark of 7-3. That was coming into the weekend. 2-0 on Sunday night.
One of the things that it really has impressed me about this Tennessee team, it's really hard to get yourself ready to play a really tough game week after week, and it has been the Bills, and then it was the Chiefs, and then it was the Colts in that huge divisional game, and then you're on the road to go play a great Rams team with just one loss. And yet Mike Vrabel, week after week after week, his guys show up and play this kind of football. And you know, this is the kind of football we saw from Tennessee back in the day when they did go to the Super Bowl.
So an onside kick attempt here. Go out of bounds at the 48. Tennessee will go home and meet New Orleans and Houston the next 2 weeks. New Orleans all banged up, and what can you say about the Texans?
Yeah, they've got, you know, Al, this is one of those games where statistics really don't matter. The Rams have outgained the Titans 347 yards to 195. And it really has been that kind of game, but this is also the kind of game the Titans know how to play. You know, styles make fight, and this one landed on the style of the Tennessee Titans.
And now that they've been through the mill and had the tough part of their schedule, that'll take us to 0-0. For the rest of the season, Tennessee has, in terms of records of their opponent, the easiest schedule in the league.
They've earned it because they've slugged their way through the tough part.
So it's a rout tonight. 28-16 is the final score, as Tennessee has the best record in the AFC at 7-2, and the Rams are now 7-2. Sunday Night Football postgame show next after these messages from your local station.